Odin and Anubis are the final gods fighting in this tournament, while Kintoki, Nostradamus and Rasputin are the official warriors remaining for humanity. We also have Siegfried as the wild card for the entire Record of Ragnarok story, and many more must-know things to break down throughout today's video. Record of Ragnarok now has over 100 chapters and is in its final stage. 10 fights have officially concluded, and the 11th between Simmer and Loki is going crazy. Anything can really happen in the future of the story, but here is what we currently know. At the start of the series, Ragnarok is outlined as a 13 vs 13 tournament. This is through the Constitution of Valhalla, something revealed in the side manga as a must follow an absolute set of rules for the gods, and if they're not followed, they become recognized as outer gods. But Zeus likely has the power, due to being the supreme god, to overrule some aspects, with the existence of the Apocalypse of the Gods manga being adding the winner of that tournament to the main series potentially, so keep that in mind as a possibility. But the biggest question on everyone's mind is who will fight Odin in the series. The main villain of Record of Ragnarok, who was not just trying to destroy humanity, but wanting to resurrect the other primordial gods and destroy the lesser gods on top of that, and likely everything else within this universe. Therefore, 6% of you think Kintoki will face him, being the final Japanese fighter in this series, and even got that suspicious stare-off scene with Odin recently, and has caused many issues in regards to his master plan. 16% believes Siegfried will somehow end up fighting for humanity, which is very possible considering his role as the primordial vessel, the boyfriend of Brunhilde, as a key reason for the entire tournament existing in the first place, and now the goal situation with him. Apart from that, 22% of you think Rasputin vs Odin will occur, naturally for top of the verse to face and crush the main villain. But of course, the most popular prediction right now, with 55% of you who voted picking Nostradamus, who now has the mysterious connection to Odin, as the chief god appointed him as the direct doctor for Siegfried, alongside all the Joker of humanity destroying the Bifrost reveals from Brunhilde. His stocks seemingly keep on rising as an absolute powerhouse being a guarantee. But a character we all wish was in Ragnarok is of course the ogre himself, Udra Hanma, who you can actually talk to on PolyBuzz for free. This is alongside many cool Record of Ragnarok chats available as well. A place where you can create unique chatbots with over 20 million characters in the app already, and over 10 million downloads worldwide. Here is me setting up the ogre for the Record of Ragnarok tournament, as I'm taking Brunhilde's role here. The perfect monster humanity needs, and a fight against the gods is exactly what Udra would be down for. His greatest desire of finding an equal and having an all-out fight, likely against the supreme god Zeus, with Udra being above time and all that. A true clashing of fists. This is only a glimpse of what you can do with PolyBuzz, and I even have a code for all of you to get a free trial of more surprising premium features. Just enter Weeb22 in the search bar and you can have a yap session with all these PolyBuzz chatbots, or even make some more for the Record of Ragnarok universe. Truly infinite potential. So don't waste any time and download PolyBuzz for free using my link at the top of the description, and have some fun like millions of others, but don't go too crazy with the Udra fanfiction, as it might become canon at some point. So with all this said, something crazy about the final stage of Record of Ragnarok is that any one of these fighters could realistically face Odin in the tournament officially, and it would make a lot of sense. There isn't a per se definitive matchup, but when taking into account Odin's entire plan, the connection to Siegfried, various things that could make Siegfried the most important Record of Ragnarok character, you have to come to the conclusion that if Siegfried does fight for humanity somehow, he will be indeed facing Odin. But again, that causes a number of issues as another fighter will be added to humanity's roster. So let's imagine Siegfried doesn't fight officially in the tournament. Maybe some outside or post-tournament events will be focusing on him. I would agree with the majority of you who voted in saying that Nostradamus will be fighting Odin in the tournament. He has that connection to Siegfried, he has now the connection to Odin, the prior build up from Brunhilde, and the most stocks out of any human fighter remaining by a long shot. So that is my prediction for one of the final fights, which leaves us with one more god officially, that being Anubis, who during his introduction was going to fight in round 10, but as we know was cucked by Susanoo. Then when preparing to go for round 11, he was cucked by Loki. So bro fighting next for round 12 is likely the case, leaving Odin as the 13th fight. Something that's probably going to begin with him absolutely raging out. And the most common prediction since the very start of the series, when we all saw the official roster, is that the legend Rasputin will indeed be fighting Anubis. Something I still believe will be the case. And another aspect that will occur throughout this fight is that since Anubis is the only Egyptian god fighting in this tournament, this will allow us to have the introduction of the other Egyptian gods, particularly those we got to see in Record of Ragnarok, the Apocalypse of the Gods, the canon side manga I talked about at the start of today's video. Most importantly, Ra, the supreme god of that pantheon who was defeated in round 1 by Cuchulainn. Something that will provide a direct connection to the Apocalypse of the Gods series and make it even more canon to the main manga, which will potentially set up the winner of that tournament once it's officially revealed, fighting in the main Record of Ragnarok tournament as they were promised in the introduction of that manga. But again, with all that said, a common belief is that Zeus will just end up fighting the winner of the tournament, defeat him, and that's why he was added to the roster, as we all know. So for now, keep the Apocalypse of the Gods aspects in the back of your mind. If we have Anubis versus Rasputin, then Odin versus Nostradamus, what will the role of Kintoki be? Are we going to be required to have another god fighting, a newly introduced one? Maybe a victor fighting again? I could imagine someone like Zeus being down for that. However, that goes against the 13 vs 13 setup of the tournament, and if there is 14 rounds, there pretty much needs to be a draw to make a certified winner on humanity's side as an example, or for the stakes to be up high entering the final fights, and that may require even a 15th round. Just a number of issues rise when you consider the possibility of more than 13 fights. For example, the scores are currently a draw. Let's say Loki manages to defeat Simo, putting the gods ahead, then Rasputin defeats Anubis, putting it as a draw leading into the final fight, with humanity winning and that being the end of it. A very simple conclusion and makes sense narratively with what we've learned previously. But the likes of Kintoki being done dirty like that, or another character, I don't really view it as a possibility. So as I mentioned earlier, anything can really happen, bringing us to the crackhead theory discussed by some of us in a recent stream. Make sure to listen closely. Let's imagine round 11 is a draw. Simo sacrifices his heart to go for one final shot that headshots and definitively defeats Loki. A crazy round, but officially recognized as a draw, meaning going into round 12, the scores are even between the gods and humanity. As a response to this, we get the insane reveal that Rasputin is a traitor and is now fighting for the gods somehow, some way. This results in Nostradamus being chosen as humanity's fighter, who manages to defeat Rasputin somehow, some way. A situation that causes a lot of outrage and adjustments to be made to the tournament. Round 13 is declared as Kintoki vs Anubis, and surprisingly Kintoki manages to win it and should have officially won the tournament. But Odin, who's been scheming the entire time, isn't about this, goes absolutely wild, bringing us to the post-tournament events where we have Siegfried and various other characters fighting Odin and whoever is allied with him. Like I said, the ultimate crackhead theory. But coming back a little bit, let's say round 11 is still a draw. Round 12 can be Kintoki versus Anubis, with Kintoki winning. Then round 13 is all of the insanity of Rasputin being a traitor that forces Nostradamus out. But this time Rasputin the traitor manages to win, causing outrage and various issues to consider, resulting in round 14 due to the scores being a draw still. Odin vs Siegfried, which concludes the story as Siegfried manages to defeat Odin with either Brunhilde as his Valkyrie, or maybe even go more so as Brunhilde may be the Valkyrie for Nostradamus who gets defeated. Somehow, someway, makes more sense for top of the verse Rasputin naturally, but again, crackhead theories out of the way. Let me know down in the comments what you think is going to happen. Anything is truly possible.